I am a teacher candidate at Illinois State University. I am currently doing a book talk for Math 201 on the book Sir Circumference and All the King's Ten. This book was written by Cindy Neuschwander and illustrated by Wayne Gehan. The main premise of this book centers around teaching students place value. The book does this by telling the story of King Arthur's birthday party. Lady D and Sir Circumference decide to throw a party for King Arthur, as he's been grumpy lately. They decide to invite everybody over to their castle, and after they send the invitations out, people just start arriving, and they keep coming and they keep coming, and they just don't have an accurate count of how many guests there are. So the day before the party, they decide to get everyone together and try to get a count of them. But there's so many people that there's no quick way to count them. They go through several different solutions trying to find the right way, an easy, quick way to count them because they're running out of time and they need to know how much food they need. Thankfully, Sir Circumference is able to combine all the different solutions to count all of the guests, and they end up throwing a great birthday party for the grumpy King Arthur, and he ends up smiling and really appreciating their effort at throwing him a birthday party. Specifically talking about how the book addresses the mathematical content, the book addresses place value by talking about ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, referring to the number of guests for the king's party. There are so many guests, and they are so disorganized that the guests cannot get an accurate guest count. The host needs to know how many guests that there are so that they can have an accurate amount of food for all of their guests. This is where grouping comes in. Several of the characters offer different grouping solutions to the counting problem. One character suggests randomly grouping the guests and adding up the groups, but none of the groups are equal, and it is impossible to keep track of the numbers. Another suggests making a single file line, but time is short, and counting everyone in line would take too long. Their solutions would work in theory, but in practice they are not right for this dilemma. Eventually, Sir Circumference combines the salient parts of each different solution to make a solution that fits this dilemma, all the while getting ready for the birthday party. The Common Core and mathematical practices connections are pretty clear. Students begin learning about place value in kindergarten and continue to have standards addressing place value through the 5th grade. Obviously, place value is a really important part of understanding numbers. Place value standards can be found under the numbers and operations in base 10. Another salient content standard that can be addressed through this book is measurement and data. This is mainly useful for kindergarten students, as they're the ones that are learning to group units. And like I said, this can be found under measurement and data in the Common Core state standards for kindergartens. The mathematical practices addressed in this book are Mathematical Practices 1, which is make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Mathematical Practice 3, which is construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others, and Mathematical Practice 4, which is to model with mathematics. I would not recommend that a teacher let students read this individually without first introducing place value. If this book is used to introduce place value, I believe that the teacher would need to have clear modeling strategies in place to make sure that the students don't get lost in this book. However, if a teacher was trying to find out what the students did know about grouping strategies, this could be a fun way to get them talking about how they would group the number of people. This book would also be a great way to talk about place value in terms of groups of numbers, and since it uses colorful pictures and an interesting dilemma, it would keep students interested. The students could also use this book to model for how to take apart solutions and use the salient parts, and students could use this book as a basis for a project involving place value. Thank you so much for listening to my book talk, and I hope that you found this useful. Of course, I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Just shoot me a question. Thanks.